Self-awareness has the potential to enhance virtually every experience we have, from the way we conduct our businesses to the way we perceive and come to understand ourselves on a personal level. Today, we welcome the music, minds, and perspective of Houston, Texas sister singer-songwriter duo Wildfire and guest business professional Patricia Petrone of Rochester, New York's Whole Wellness Therapy Services. I'm Amanda Ashley, and this is episode 68, Self-Awareness. Welcome to Afternoon Cocktail. And welcome in sister duo, Miss Wildfire. How you girls doing?
Hi, we're doing great.
Awesome to have you. Oh my God, thank you. So this is Kelly and Kayla. And what are you guys going to perform for us?
Today we will be performing two of our original songs, one of our latest singles that just came out, Cut You Off, and then also an original song off our EP called Been There.
Perfect. Take it away.
Fell asleep with my makeup on last night. I tried, but I can't fight. Missing you, I'm missing you. I text you now, but my phone is dead. We both know you leave me on red. It's true, you know it's true. So what's the point in trying? If I get lucky, I'm lying to myself. I'm lying to myself. 'Cause you only want me when there's no one else. But now I'm over feeling sorry for myself. What am I supposed to do, knowing it's not me, it's you? Just try to make this flood of feelings stop. I gotta cut you off. You were looking at me, she was in your head. 10 missed calls, still can't admit she was in your head. In your head. Little white lies about where you've been. Rain checks that you don't cash in. It all makes sense. You let me down again. So what's the point in trying? If I get lucky, I'm lying to myself. I'm lying to myself. 'Cause you only want me when there's no one else. But now I'm over feeling sorry for myself. What am I supposed to do, knowing it's not me, it's you? Just try to make this flood of feelings stop. I gotta cut you off. I gotta cut you off. Stranger to your heart, from the outside looking in. You are who you are, and I just don't fit in. 'Cause you only want me when there's no one else. But now I'm over feeling sorry for myself. What am I supposed to do, knowing it's not me, it's you? Just try to make this flood of feelings stop. I gotta cut you off. I gotta cut you off. I gotta cut you off. I gotta cut you off.
Kelly and Kayla, beautiful. So, I mean, tell me, how do you two are 20 months apart, you told me, right? At ages 15 and 16, am I right?
We're actually 17 and then 15, almost 16 for Kelly.
17 and okay, it's crazy. So how most girls your age that are sisters are pulling each other's hair and kicking each other out of the room. How do you two come to make such beautiful harmonies and write amazing music together?
Yeah, well, we are like best friends. I mean, in real life, whatever. We've always been best friends since we're so close. We're the only two siblings that we have. So, ever since I can remember, we've always kind of been singing together, dancing together. We did dance for a super, super long time in our childhood. We did musical theater. We were always playing parts together. So, we've always kind of been forced together, which is actually a great thing because it created us to just be best friends. And I love
for
it.
sure.
That's amazing. I mean, when did you both discover like that, hey, like I'm writing songs, like you want to sing with me? Like was it ever a conversation like that, or you just like overheard each other and learned each other's lyrics and started singing? Like how did you come together as a band?
Yeah, so we have been singing separately for almost all of our childhood, and we would do dance together, like she said. And we had the same vocal teacher, and she kind of paired us together for this competition called Rodeo Rockstar that happens at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo every year. And she said, "Hey, how about y'all sing together for this? We can work on the harmonies for a while because harmonies don't just come naturally. I mean, the
Right.
blendation we have does, but." We had to learn how to do harmonies and all this, and we worked for months at it. And after we did the competition together, we really realized that we enjoyed and just loved singing together as we did dance and everything else in our life.
Yeah, it was kind of a very natural thing for us.
That's so special. I mean, does anybody else in your family, like your parents, are they musicians as well, or does music run in your blood?
Yeah, so our dad used to be in a duo called Life is Hard when he was a little bit younger. And so we've always been exposed to music. He was always having instruments laying around the house, getting them, getting us instruments for birthday presents. So it was just like very, very natural. Like I'm saying, everything, it kind of just happened. And I think we both just loved music so much because that's like all we listened to growing up pretty much. And so one day we were just like, hey, like, why not make a hobby out of this, a career possibly?
And when did you make that switch? I mean, you both have a tremendous following, and you've recorded a lot of material over, for being so young. I mean, when did you start really pushing your career, pushing this forward as a career?
Yeah, in around like 2016, so almost like 5 years now, which is
Mm-hmm.
insane to think about. We started, playing gigs out, and we played a gig at Potbelly and got like 50 cents in tips one time. I distinctly remember at the start of all this. And we just kept on pushing. I mean, going to gigs that were completely empty, just playing because we love to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when we kind of decided that we wanted to start recording original music. And I actually had this song called Believe when I was a single, like an artist by myself, and we re-recorded it together. And that's a lot of people's favorite songs, these song out of all of the ones we've released. So it's been a long journey. I mean, 2016 feels like yesterday. I can't believe it was 5 years ago. So
Yeah, and for you guys to have come that far in since 2016 to now, I mean, you have such a long journey ahead, and only more good things are going to come.
Yeah.
Um, what awareness has your musical journey brought to you, in that time period?
I would say my biggest awareness is how much social media can affect your mental health. We also do wildfire on social media, and that's a ton of fun. But then I also have my own social media presence with TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, and with all that comes a lot of negativity sometimes. Although there's a lot of positivity that comes out of it, it can really affect you. I mean, I remember times when I just let those comments get to me. I would say that's the biggest thing of like awareness that's come to me.
How do you deal with it, Kayla? I mean, like, how do you block out the noise and keep yourself positive? I mean, it's hard to not let people's brutal comments get to you. Like there's always going to be haters are gonna hate, you know? So like how do you avoid letting that bring you down?
I would say as long as I'm inspiring one person every day with something that I post, that means more to me than one toxic like hate comment. And I feel like every day I do get more positive comments than negative comments or DMs or whatever it may be. But the negative ones just seem to stick with me more. And I think that's for everyone. I think negative comments maybe from people in your family or your friends always stick with you more than the positive ones. But I think the my inspiration is just to inspire other people, and when I see that, it kind of reassures me that I'm doing a positive thing and those people are just hating out of a place of insecurity or something like that.
Yeah, and I think I just wanted to add on besides the hate, because I've always been pretty well at handling hate. I mean, it doesn't really get to me, especially, when they're talking about my singing, I just don't care. But when it gets to body image, I think that's a huge
Mm.
thing for a lot of young girls growing up. And I think social media also brings, even though it can be very toxic, it also brings a lot of education. I mean,
Mm.
we've seen tons of things happen on social media and blow up, and it kind of brings a lot of self-awareness to how am I acting towards other people, and how are the words that I'm saying, even if they're not offensive to who I'm talking to, how are they affecting people in the big picture, and how could they affect people if they heard them. And I think that a lot of people, ever since social media is around, everything's documented that you've ever put out there. I think a lot of people are becoming more self-aware and self-educated
Mm.
on how to respect others, and I think it can be a very good thing too.
Yeah, it can be, but like she was saying, we are sisters, and as much as I just love her so much, and so when I see comments, especially on DMs and live streams and stuff of people like comparing us, like, oh, I like the one on the left better, oh, I like the one with the blonde hair better. That is like kind of, I think that maybe those people need some awareness in their lives, maybe to not comment on people's image, because it doesn't necessarily affect us, but I feel like other people it could
Yeah,
affect.
especially the very young. And we're
Mhm.
very young, but I think that we have this sense of maturity since we've had social media all throughout our childhood. And I think these very, very young kids that are getting into the limelight at like 12, 10, like I hope that they're not taking those comments, because when I
Mhm.
was that young, it would feel like the whole world was crashing in if someone said that I was like ugly, or said that I was a horrible singer or dancer. Whereas now, since I've been on social media for so long, it's expected to get those kind of
Yeah.
comments.
Hmm.
I think it's extremely mature of both of you be to be aware of that and to be aware of how impressionable, no matter if you're Lady Gaga or if you're Wildfire or if you're anybody, like when you're putting yourself out there on a public platform, you know, um, it's easy to, it's easy for everybody to, pick on flaws or when you put on a platform like that, it could put you definitely make you vulnerable to negativity, right?
Hmm.
But I'm glad that you guys are using your bond to kind of hold each other up and also to realize that your response, how you respond to things. This is where I was going back to maturity. Your response to the situation is just as effective as somebody's comment. I think you choosing the more mature route of just kind of letting it go and just realizing that it's better to keep quiet than to respond negatively, and then to have those people that are influenced by your music, that they'll pick up on that example. I think you're setting a very good example for the people that look up to you. I guess that's the point of what I'm trying to
Yeah,
make.
I would hope
But
so.
yeah. Oh, I absolutely think so. Um, how has your perspective of the music business changed? I mean, as you sort of go from just a hobby to now you're writing and recording, and you're starting to see the business end of things. Has that changed your relationship in any way, or the way you interact with the other people around you?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's changed tremendously. I mean, any little girl, little boy growing up that wants to pursue this would think it's all just doing what you love to do, but there's so much more to it. And it can get kind of intense when you get into that industry. There's contracts everywhere. There's things you may sign that, I mean, we saw it with Taylor Swift. She, signed a
Yeah.
contract and then her masters, and there's this huge blow up. And I think that you really have to pay attention to that kind of stuff, because it can strike, even if you think I just want this deal, it can strike you in the future in a negative light. And I also think on another side of things, it is there's a sense of, which I don't really like this. I think it should be more building each other up, but is a sense on social media with kids that are the same age as us, of competition. And I don't think it should be competition. I think we're all striving towards the same goal. And I think there's room for all of us to do what we love. And with certain people, I have seen, like, I guess, trying to sabotage in a little bit of a way. And I think it's something you have to watch out. But there's also a lot of amazing young musicians that we love to hang around, and we see every time we go to Nashville or any of these states.
Yeah, and I would also say that with this whole music business experience, it's really taught me to be able to read people really well and see what their intentions are, and if they're, trying to take advantage of you, or if they're, there's so many different intentions out there, especially in business. And that's probably the more negative, I guess you could say, side of things. But the music business has also taught me so many positive things. I am planning on going to college and getting a business degree now, just because I love the business side of things so, so much. And with merch sales and learning how to do social media marketing and all this kind of stuff, it's taught me so much. And I take marketing classes in school, and I'm not even learning this much. So it's really been a great, great learning experience.
That's excellent. Yeah, I could tell. I mean, so being in like the age of live streaming right now, do you feel that, I mean, with the slowdown of COVID, I mean, do you feel like this has brought you closer and more intimate with your audience?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, we live stream like one, usually every Sunday. Sometimes we do more lives than that. But the people who show up every week have really gotten to know us on a more personal level. I mean, we've started talking about, what we're doing, what we're stressors we're dealing with, what's going well in life, and we introduce them to we got a puppy, so, they're keeping up to date with that. We've really gotten to form like a friendship with them on Facebook and Instagram. And it's really nice to know that you have that supportive group of backbone people, and I really appreciate that.
For sure.
It's awesome. Now, what's next for you guys? Are you writing a new album, or do you have any upcoming singles?
Yeah, we are constantly writing songs,
Good for
whether it's
you.
with co-writers or just us. And we've been recording often lately. We
Mhm.
have a ton of new singles coming out one after another, and we're super excited about that. We're super excited once the pandemic's over to, we really want to do a tour,
Mhm.
whether that's in one state or a couple cities or in a different country even. And we love to just keep on playing out when, obviously now we can't, being safe, but we love to play out and play at festivals. And yeah, we're just trying to get our name out there.
Yeah, but just like she said, I mean, we want to get back to performing so badly, but we want to do it in a safe way, of course. So we're going to
Yeah.
wait until it's safe and we're not putting anybody, in danger with health related reasons. But yeah, like she said, right now, I mean, just about 2 weeks ago, we just recorded a new single. We just wrote one last week that we're going to be recording. So all great things, just moving forward, doing as much as we can, and just having a really good time along the way.
Excellent. And then when it comes to writing, do you both kind of just write on your own and then introduce each other's songs, or is it like and that you sit down together and like, okay, let's write a song today. Like this is what I'm feeling. What are you feeling? How does it typically work between the two of you?
Yeah, usually we kind of, because I think writing kind of comes to you when it does. Like,
Mhm.
you can sit down and force it, but with me, it's usually like I'm just walking throughout the day. I'm like, oh, I should write about this, or experiences that you have. And so we kind of usually just write a little something in our notes, however much that is. And we bring our favorite idea to each other. And then we bring, like, usually a couple to the right, or if we know we love this idea, we'll just bring that one to the right.
Exactly, yeah.
So cool. Well, you guys are amazing. I love you keep loving each other and keep saying and don't let the haters get to you and keep creating beautiful music and harmonies. Thank you so much for being on our show. What is your website? Where could our audience be directed to you?
Yeah, so our website is www.wildfiresings.com, and you can check us out on social media at Wildfire Sings, Instagram, Facebook. The only one that's different is Twitter, and that is Wildfire Singers. So make sure to check us out.
Excellent. Thank you, girls, so much. So I have the pleasure of introducing Rochester's own Patricia Petrone of Whole Wellness Therapy. Patricia, how's it going?
It is going as
Yeah.
well as it can possibly be going right now.
I hear you. I know you can relate to a lot of what the girls were just speaking of. But first, let's get into can you tell our audience just a little bit about you and your background and tell us a little bit about your business, Whole Wellness Therapy?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a licensed New York State psychotherapist. I have been in the field for I'm coming up on a decade. So very exciting stuff for me personally, because experience leads to trust. So
Sure does.
great time to be me coming up on that time period, I guess. So my business is called Whole Wellness Services. We are a private practice located in Rochester, New York, but we do offer coaching services actually worldwide. Um, and we offer psychotherapy within the state of New York. So, our goal is to provide holistically based, affordable therapy in a private setting. And your audience may or may not be aware that there is a little bit of a difference between an agency or a hospital setting when you're getting therapy or a private setting. And word on the street is that sometimes private settings can be a little bit more high quality because the clinicians are not as overworked. So it can tend to be really expensive, though, to get private therapy, and a lot of the time insurance doesn't cover it. So our goal is to provide cutting edge treatment at a really affordable price point that most people can swing. Um, and we do sliding scale, and we work with people as much as we can. And we also really focus on a non-medication based approach to mental health. Of course, we will do medication with people when there is an absolute clinical need for it, but we like to start with the lowest level of intervention first and see where we can get people. So that's a little bit about the business.
Sure. So, thinking about today, like I asked you before we went on camera what your thoughts are on self awareness and if you kind of felt like you had to be very self aware in order to become a therapist. I mean, can you share with our audience what you had shared with me?
Yeah, so I feel like self-awareness is sort of one of the biggest hurdles that you need to get past if you're serious about becoming a psychotherapist in the field. Self-awareness is an extremely important piece of what we do. And I think if you are a therapist and you have a real lack of self-awareness, or you don't understand your own trauma and your own sort of, I guess, emotional state, then how can you be effective with providing care to clients and patients? I think self-awareness is something that schools and educators really try to hone if you're in a good program anyway, and you're actually encouraged to do therapy yourself while you're going through the process of becoming a therapist, so that you can build a level of self-awareness that is going to be useful as you get into the field, because you're faced with all kinds of challenges from your clients, and there is never a dull day ever. um, there's a lot of wonderful, happy days where you make a huge difference, and then there are days when your clients are really just sort of putting you to work, you know what I mean? Which is fine, because it's not about you during this process. But sometimes if you are not able to be self-aware and control your own emotions during those hard times, things can get a little bit hairy. So you really have to recognize it's not about you. And you need to be able to kind of recognize that in the moment. And that takes self-awareness, you know?
Sure. I mean, I feel like, I mean, I know I speak for this for myself, and you probably feel this too. So, I mean, you're also a musician outside of your business, and a very big musician. This is the most at home we've probably have been with ourselves, you know? So even being somebody who's probably self-aware, we're also, our awareness is growing that, oh, wow, like, so this is how I respond to kind of a traumatic event. You know, this is trauma for all of us right now, you know? So you're starting to like take into consideration, wow, this is how I actually respond to trauma. I'm realizing little things about myself, you know, just on a daily trying to survive and, you know, pull through at life. What have you come to realize that you didn't realize before?
Oh my goodness. Well, you know, being a busy therapist and also being in the creative sort of lens of things and realm, you're very, very, very busy all the time. You're going, going, going. There's not much time to get into like a deep sort of emotionally traumatic place when your schedule is absolutely packed, and it becomes a way to almost numb yourself and escape emotions. So I think for me, the biggest thing with not traveling and not having a lot going on creatively, and even with business last March really slowed down. A lot of people were just like, what is going on? So I think all around it was a period of just having to sit with emotions. And even though being what I consider to be a high functioning person, there have been little nuances that I've noticed within myself during this. So one of the biggest things I think is just I'm usually really, really diligent about self-care. And some of that has been more difficult for me during this period. It almost feels like, you know, I have nowhere to go. I have nothing to do. Nobody's going to see me. It's like, I'm sure, just to be real, that everybody has felt this. Unlike the girls in Wildfire, for example, I should do this every day, but I'm not on social media every single day. And it's because I think I come from a little bit of a different generation, and I find it really challenging actually to be on socials every single day. It's very, very draining for me. And I think sometimes I wish that I had grown up in that gen where it's just a part of everyday life, because for me, trying to adjust to that is very hard. So I don't do that every day. And with that, there are some days that I'm just like, wow, I haven't left my house in 3 days. I haven't put makeup on and God knows how long. And I've definitely noticed that has been a little bit challenging for me, to not be constantly on the go, counting down to the next time that I'm leaving town, or you know, seeing clients face to face and like really needing to be on. So I've been joking. I feel like a part of my brain is like broken right now because I'm not doing any performances. And this is like the first online thing that I've done in a while. So I love this aspect of both therapy and music. And I feel like part of my brain is kind of just like shut off right now. I guess that's what I feel.
Well, it's interesting how it affects. Yeah, this has affected everybody in so many different ways. I find kind of diving into the therapy has actually helped me, you know, throughout this whole process. Because not, I mean, I'm a gigging musician also, so like not being able to perform as much, and you know, I also felt like a little bit of my creativity stifled. You know, like I find it hard to to sit and write my own music at a time where um, there's so much banter and like clutter, with everything that's happening around us. But
Absolutely.
yeah, the therapy part of it is really what kind of I think I've been so interested in learning more about. I want to understand why I'm feeling the way I feel or why I am the way I am, and that's what kind of brings me here with you. I think maybe a lot of people are questioning that, in this time frame because we have more time to think about it. you
Absolutely.
know.
And I think now more than ever is a great time to think about getting yourself into therapy. This, like you said, this is a traumatic event for the entire planet Earth. This is an unprecedented event that we're experiencing in the 21st century. And it's just, if you had played with the idea of therapy at any point, I think now is a really good time to sort of get into the emotional process. And reason being, one of the major ones is we aren't as busy right now. It's kind of like this forced stillness. And therapy can be a really overwhelming and emotional process. And I think right now, a lot of people do have the space to kind of put their all into it because you get out of it what you put into it. And again, if you're always on the go and you have no time to do any work outside of sessions, it's just not going to be as effective for you. And there's a lot of great virtual options right now. Like my practice, we offer virtual to anybody who's out of the area or who just feels more comfortable doing that right now. So the help is out there, and now is a really, really good time for people to be exploring what's going on for them during this, and not only during this, but during the span of their life as a whole. Um, and I think the stigma also is really starting to disappear, which, being in the field for kind of a good amount of time now, when I first started, it was a lot more stigmatized than it is now. And I'm really happy to see the younger generations really embracing the fact that we need an unbiased person to bounce ideas off of, to explore our emotions with, to maybe not always give us direct advice and let us figure it out on our own. So I think it's a great time for this sort of internal exploration. And I feel you so deeply on the performance aspect and the writing aspect, um,
Yeah.
and all of that, because it also, one of the other things I've noticed is it has been a time where I have felt, in general, a little bit less inspired creatively, because it's just, there's a lot of internal clutter. We're getting battered with news constantly, and it's hard to feel genuinely inspired consistently right now.
Sure, the uncertainties are what gets to me. It's hard when you're somebody that, kind of plans everything out to have no plans and to not know how to plan anymore, is really difficult. How do you think that becoming more in tune with ourselves can benefit our mental health?
Oh my gosh. Well, the episode's theme, self-awareness, is a big part of this. Getting in touch with and understanding yourself on a deeper level sort of trickles down to everything you do in life, right? So if you're a person that's really struggling in your career, one of the first places that I would tell you to look is really deep inside of yourself. What are the things that you find annoying or unsatisfying? What are the small nuances that you deal with daily that you kind of just really feel repelled by? And I think when you do self exploration, you start to really know yourself better. And I think that is the key to high functioning success in a lot of ways, is really having a keen understanding of who you are, of what fulfills you and makes you happy, and what you feel passionate about. And you really can't fully grasp that until you do a little bit of self exploration. That's why we see so many people in careers that they don't feel strongly about. We see a lot of relationship dissatisfaction. A lot of people are attracted to the wrong kind of partner because they don't truly know themselves. I think that
Yeah.
knowing yourself really unlocks sort of the path to, the most consistent level of happiness that we can get to. Happiness is like, it's not a constant feeling, everybody watching too. That's not the goal. It's not realistic. It's kind of a fleeting thing, but the goal is to kind of feel that joy as consistently as we can.
I find the stressors to be the big, like the big piece of self-awareness, like what stresses me in life. If I could chip away at that, then I could kind of have more of a clear path ahead for anything that I strive for, like, do you agree with that?
For sure. I mean, some stress can be healthy. Some anxiety actually can be useful to us. This sort of restlessness that we feel can spur us to action sometimes. But you run into problems when your stress becomes the primary foundation for your emotions. So I guess my question for anybody out there that's sort of pondering stress as a whole would be, do you find that your stress is shaping the majority of your emotions, or is it something that you're just kind of feeling intermittently? And what is the stressor that we're talking about? Um,
Mm.
there are just so many things that can cause it. It's kind of just like this giant animal that we're always dealing with for people. So for you, for instance, the uncertainty of this situation, I'm sure, is causing a lot of stress, as it is for myself and anybody that's has a business or that's in entertainment or anything like that. So then the question becomes, can you do anything about this stress? Because this is a situation that is out of everyone's control.
Right.
So, can you speak to yourself with self awareness in a way that allows you to say, I have to ride this emotion out because this is not going anywhere for the time being, this source of stress, right?
I think when I hit that point, I really try to ask myself, like, what can I do? What are the things that make me happy? And how, if some of those things are unattainable right now, like how can I kind of fill those gaps? Which is really, really hard to do at a time like this. I mean, at least in Rochester, right? So
Oh, yeah.
I want to bring this up, like seasonal affective disorder. I definitely feel like I have a touch of that. I feel it at certain points. Since, like our time change has happened, like I feel like everything just, kind of come down a little bit. But a lot of those things that would make me happy, going for a bike ride when it's beautiful out, stuff that helps me clear my mind. I go into the gym, exercise, that stuff that helps you produce those positive endorphins.
Right.
Now that they're like no longer available, I mean, like, I'm like, well, what the hell do I do with myself? I mean, what suggestions do you have for those people that feel like they're like lacking, the stuff that they once turned to, they no longer can because of quarantine. Like, how could we find other ways?
It's very difficult, and I want to speak a little bit to seasonal affective, because you have really two different processes going on when you're experiencing true clinical seasonal affective, right? So you have that piece of it's getting dark at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You may be in a place very much like Rochester where temperatures can be sub-zero at times, so not great. So you have that going on kind of psychologically, but there's also some biological features to seasonal affective that can either make it worse or improve it a little bit. So I want to talk about a few of those things. So definitely, if you are a person that notices that you have a marked change in mood in the winter, invest in, and some of these things might be a little bit obvious, but invest in some UV day bulbs for around your space. And right now during quarantine, your space is literally your sanctuary. And
Yeah.
taking some time to set that up in a way that feels comfortable to you flow wise, that's organized, clean, whatever kind of makes you feel at ease. Your space is super important right now. We're going to be spending a lot of time in our spaces. So, getting yourself some of those bulbs that sort of mimic natural light is great for sort of the biological piece of this. It kind of tricks your brain into thinking that it's summertime still. So that's my first simple suggestion. Still getting exercise in the house for the sort of endorphin rush is really important too. It's like a natural antidepressant. So even doing things like simple body weight workouts, and there's a ton of stuff online, yoga, cardio, like, and you don't need equipment to break a sweat in your home. You need like a 5x5 space and some music or a tablet or a computer, and you can do that. It's just about finding the discipline, I suppose, to do so. But sometimes when people are feeling really down and they know they're going to feel better after getting a quick workout in, it's enough to kind of spur people to action. A couple of other things: take vitamin D in the winter, especially if you're in a place like Rochester that's very dark and not sunny. Vitamin D3 actually acts more like a hormone in your body than a vitamin, and it affects your mood, your metabolism, it affects everything greatly. So, getting yourself some vitamin D3 and taking it every day can be helpful. Watching your unhealthy eating habits can be really helpful too. And I know it's so hard during quarantine to stick with this because we're
Yeah.
all like ordering takeout every day. But even giving yourself a 3-day period where maybe you cook for yourself at home can definitely help, because if you are kind of spiking your blood sugar all day, and you're having those crashes, your mood is going to crash along with that. And it definitely doesn't help with seasonal affective. I also usually recommend, as painful as it is when it's not warm out, bundle yourself up, go outside and try to have some fun. If it's a sunny day with snow still, you can just get yourself all bundled up and do snowshoeing, or try to go for a walk, or build a snowman, or take your dog or your child out. Anything you can do to kind of get some actual sunlight is very, very helpful. So, my last suggestion is to also talk to your therapist this time of year, more than any time of year, maybe, because it's very, very difficult right now. And again, this sort of unprecedented experience that we're all collectively in is something that I haven't dealt with for clients. You know, I haven't had, because this happened sort of towards spring last year, I haven't had a full winter of clients being trapped in their houses yet. So I think, again, now is the time to explore your mental health if you feel like you need the extra support over the winter.
Incredible. I think that's super advice, all of it. And yeah, I really thank you for touching on that for us, because I definitely think it's being felt right now for a lot of people. And yeah, it's definitely hard, as things start getting locked down again, and this weather approaches. I have to ask you. So, I mean, can I ask you a little bit about cops? So,
Absolutely.
you're an incredible performer. And Patricia, aside, you were joking around before saying that you feel like professionally you live like a double life.
Let me take
I
the
mean, it's.
off so we can mode here.
Yes, that's right. Take the blazer off and like give us a little performance. Yeah. No, it's amazing though. I love so I mean, how do you feel like both music and therapy, like um I mean, even though they're both very separate, do you feel like one kind of fuels the other and helps you understand yourself better as a musician?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think, one of the things that I was going to talk about and touch on regarding self awareness, actually, and trying to develop your own self awareness, a tip for that would actually be to explore your self awareness through creativity. So things like And again, you don't have to be like super good at any of these things, but like art, writing, music, doing those things not only can get you through a period like quarantine, and help to fulfill you, but it also helps to drive that self-awareness. And I think through my own creativity, you have to have a degree of truth to what you're creating. I think always, whether even someone, I'll use Eminem as an example. Okay. I know this is kind of out of left field, but like I think truth means a part of yourself, right? So he may not necessarily, as a real human, be the man that he's describing in his songs, but there might be like 5% of that is true to him. And I think for me, musically, what I do creatively is like a caricature of who I am in real life. It is really a character. So there still is a degree of truth in that for me. And I think that, it's really important to express truth with your creativity, and being a therapist and having to explore my own emotions before getting into the field and thinking constantly about the emotions of other people drives that truth into the creative process really for me. So thinking about my own psychology and like inflating my own psychology to the nth degree to create what we create with Cops is just it's all kind of a part of the other, if that makes sense.
No, I definitely think so. Do you think that being self-aware as a musician helps you reach, kind of raises the ceiling on your potential of, where you could take your music and what you can accomplish?
I think so. There's so many different in music right now, there's so many different jobs, I guess, and types of career that artists can have. A person can be just a songwriter and try to encapsulate the psychology of another person while doing that. Or like Wildfire, you could be the face of the artist project and be sort of needing to get in touch with your own psychology. And I think that the more self-aware you are as an artist, the more truthful your art is, and the more people can connect with it. People love the realness. And even during this and writing music during this, I've really challenged myself to get even more in touch and maybe talk about some topics within the music that are really challenging for me. And I think that that's the content that people really connect with. And I do think that for some artists that are maybe more inauthentic in their process, that does sometimes come across, in my opinion. And it's not a genre thing. I mean, you can be an outrageous pop artist, like I said a few minutes ago, and there can still be like a real piece of you in that. But there are some artists that are fully manufactured. Other people are doing the music for them, and maybe people still for some reason connect with them, but I think you'll see the difference when you interview those artists and when you try to get a piece of their actual personality that maybe they're not so much connected to themselves through their art, I suppose.
Yeah, I agree. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show and giving us your time today. Can you tell us where we could be directed to your services, and also maybe COPS's website as well?
Sure.
Good.
This is like a double whammy today.
Why not? Yeah.
So if anybody is looking for therapy, we have 10 wonderful specialists on staff. We will hook you up and we will try to work with you financially. And again, the practice is called Whole Wellness Services, Rochester, New York based. And the website is wholewellnessservices.com. And that's spelled WHOLE. And then for music, Cops, if you're interested in that, we're on literally everything, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We have a website, copsmusic.com, and all of our handles are just Cops Music.
And it's
And
cops, K-O-P-P-S, yes.
Not like police officers, K-O-P-P-S is how you spell cops. And it's like strange pop dance music, if you're interested in that.
It's awesome. I love your music.
Thank you
Thanks so much, Patricia. Yeah, you're a delight. Thank you so much. Let's bring back Wildfire. Kelly and Kayla, you want to close us out with one more?
Yeah,
sure.
we'd love to. We're going to be performing one of our songs called Hold On to That.
Perfect.
Letterman jacket, broken and just right. Hold on to that, hold on to that. A first date kiss on a Friday night. Hold on to that, hold on to that. Feeling that you love but you can't describe. Hold on to that, hold on to that. Lock it in your heart for the rest of your life. Hold on to that, hold on to that. 'Cause time goes by so fast. We gotta treasure all this beauty that we have. Memories and memories are sometimes all you need to make you smile and bring the feeling back. Hold on to that. When you've got the hand of the one you love, hold on to that, hold on to that. 3 little words that mean so much. Hold on to that, hold on to that. A dream that really lights you up. Hold on to that, hold on to that. A song that makes you think of us. Hold on to that, hold on to that. 'Cause time goes by so fast. We gotta treasure all this beauty that we have. Memories and memories are sometimes all you need to make you smile and bring the feeling back. Hold on to that. The peace you feel deep in your soul. Hold on to that, hold on to that. When you're with the one that makes you feel like home. Hold on to that, hold on to that. 'Cause time goes by so fast. We gotta treasure all this beauty that we have. Memories and memories are sometimes all you need to make you smile and bring the feeling back. Hold on to that. Hold on to that.
Kelly and
That was
Kayla, you girls are beautiful. Thank you for sharing your music with us today. And again, thank you to Patricia Petrone for sharing your wisdom with us. Make sure you go check out both Wildfire and Cops, K-O-P-P-S, on Spotify, Apple Music, and all those other channels that you could find music on. There are so many. I can never keep track. So I want to leave you with a little food for thought and my perspective on what I think self-awareness is. At the root of knowing oneself, we can gain a better understanding of who we are, our strengths and weaknesses, what drives our personalities, habits, and values. We can benefit our futures by gaining a conscious understanding of just how we respond to the people and situations around us. When we are able to determine and avoid what causes us to stress, we're able to focus more on the things that make us feel whole. Our vision of what we want for ourselves and what needs are essential become a bit clearer, and our potential rises. Take a moment to self-reflect and to reevaluate what it is to you, what it is that you actually want to see for yourself. What changes are necessary to make in order for you to step in the right direction? Most importantly, to reevaluate what it means for you to feel happy. Just a friendly reminder to check your engines. Keep positive and find the blessings that are all around you. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I wish you all a beautiful Thanksgiving and a wonderful holiday. Afternoon Cocktail is now available on Apple Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora. Please catch up on your inspiration and keep spreading positivity around. And we will see you back here Friday. Have a great day.